Hey everyone, I'm Blaine Ward,
I'm Jade Neeson.
and we've got a show that we'd like to pitch you guys.
The show is called POV. POV fits under the genre of mystery, and of course, like many shows, it is also a drama. It can be compared to recent mysteries such as Knives Out and Murder on the Orient Express.
Yeah, we want to make sure the murder mystery, we needed to have a comeback, so we have a pretty fresh spin on how we want to approach the topic
Uh-huh.
that I think you guys will be pretty enamored with. So the concept that we have is we want to kind of take this in a Rashomon style storytelling, where in Rashomon, for example, they'll tell it three times, each from a different person's perspective. Hoodwinked, like a fairy tale mystery, tells the story of Little Red Riding Hood from each character in that story's perspective. So, like Little Red Riding Hood's point of view, the wolf's point of view, the huntsman. Same thing with The Last Duel that just came out. Very like perspective based storytelling that we think could be really interesting for a murder mystery.
So our log line, after the heir to a fortune is found dead, the suspects have different perspectives of the events that unfolded, which compare and contrast with each other with secrets found around every corner.
Yeah, so the format that we'll be taking, we want to aim for like a 40-ish minute runtime.
The vibe of the show, we have these pictures of cruise ships because it is going to take place on a cruise ship. And that sort of adds a really interesting element to it because you don't typically have a murder mystery set on a cruise ship, right?
All right. So unfortunately, we got to start off with the murder victim himself, Colin Macy. He's an heir to the family fortune that is kind of involved in the story. And the thing about Colin, we need a very versatile actor who can change his kind of personality and appearance in every episode, depending on how people view him. So some people could view him as like, antagonistic, arrogant, lazy. Some people could view him as like loving, kind. So we need kind of a Lucas Hedges, like kind of a young in their 20s actor to kind of embody. It's asking a lot, but I think it can be done if we find the right person.
And then we have Robert Dennison. Our dream cast is somebody kind of like David Schwimmer. We think he would fit it. So this guy is supposed to be in his 40s, and he is the main detective of the story. He's the one that will be there every episode, interviewing each of the suspects. So in a way, he's almost like narrating the story as it unravels because he's the one there to investigate.
Now, so the next character we have is Arthur Hall, who will be the first kind of character that we explore. And so we need someone, at least for this first episode, we need someone who can kind of carry that kind of business-like, but also kind of a swagger to him. And who better than John Hamm? And then the other is Mackenzie Baker, who's going to be revealed as the girlfriend to Colin, who's on the ship as well. She's going to be, from her perspective, Colin's going to be a lot more like loving and attentive and all that stuff. And so we need someone who can kind of play kind of a vulnerable but likable kind of lead. And I think Kaya Scodelario or someone in her acting range can really sell that.
But Oz Miller, he as a character is the apparent rival of Colin in the company, but he's actually good friends with them. The character of Martin Santo. Martin Santo is the bartender on the cruise ship that the story is taking place. He's sort of the foil to Arthur because he's also charismatic, but he's a little more good-hearted, morally correct, and he is wise in his own way. And it is eventually revealed in the show that he was the last one to speak with Colin before Colin's death.
So Nicole will be another character, kind of 18, younger than most of the characters on the show. She's going to be the intern to kind of the John Hamm CEO, like business guy. Young, naive, attractive, but it's going to be revealed that Colin actually hooked up with Nicole on that night that he passed.
Yeah, Gus is really interesting to have in the story because it's a second detective that isn't introduced for the murder investigation. He's not Robert Dennison, aka David Schwimmer's character's partner, but he is there on the ship because he's pursuing Arthur and Arthur's neo-Nazi ties and other possible crimes.
So obviously, I'm sure you must be thinking, all right, it's a whodunit, who actually did it? Well, we kind of want to twist things up a little bit, as if we haven't already done that enough. We decided that we want the series to end with Colin dying of his own accord. Like the plot will have him falling off of kind of the cruise ship, and that's how it's going to end. Like he's just going to fall off the cruise ship. Nobody's responsible, which makes this whole thing a lot more kind of compromising when we see people blaming each other for things that didn't really happen. So I'm sure you're asking, why do we need this show? And I think the other thing that's kind of useful about this is that, we live in a society that, it's kind of hard to tell when events happen, kind of which perspective is the correct one. And I think using the murder mystery format, we can kind of expose these ideas and these perspectives kind of to light. All right. So for the future, obviously, because of the one season having like a pretty specific end, we're going to make it, if we were to do other seasons, we want to do an anthology. So different locations, different characters, but we want to keep the same format. I just think it's a fun, like the possibilities are really endless, especially when you're coming up with different character types and like who they believe did it, who they believe wouldn't do it. Obviously, we wouldn't want to pull the same ending again. We might have an actual
Right.
murder.
But that ending, the fact that it turned the mystery genre on its head, people want to come back and see in what creative way the next murder will take place, because it's like, do we go the traditional route, where it's obvious or not? And it opens a lot of doors for different interesting conclusions in
Absolutely.
future seasons.
So that's our pitch. Thank you for listening.